The original Arc'teryx Sylan was one of those trail running shoes that was so close to being absolutely epic. It fell short on a few areas, and the Arc'teryx Sylan 2 is here to fill those gaps. The Sylan 2 is a $220 carbon-plated trail racing shoe built for precision on single track running. Not the best in highly technical terrain, but for what it's designed to do, this one does really well. It's fast, it's not plush, and it's not that soft underfoot, which might confuse people because it does look like one of those soft, cushy running shoes. But this actually performs really well as a racer, and it's highly tuned for precision running. I can't wait to tell you all about it. But before I do, let's go over the key specs. They cost $220. That's a lot of money, I know, but it is a trail racing shoe, and there's a carbon fiber plate in there. So the price for those kind of premium materials and features is always going to put the price of a running shoe up. And then you add the Arc'teryx brand on there, then, well, you're going to add yourself 20% just because of the branding. But don't worry, I'll let you know by the end of this review if I believe they're worth that high price tag. They weigh 9.6 ounces or 272 grams. That's for a size US men's 9, my pair. They have a drop of 6 millimeters, that's 31 millimeters under the heel, and 25 millimeters under the forefoot. The upper's using an engineered jacquard knit mesh with an integrated stretchy collar, which acts basically like a gaiter. That stops any really fine debris from getting into the shoe. Works really well. It also has TPU overlays and semi-flexible toe bumper. The midsole's using a supercritical foam with a Pebax core and a TPE rim, and it has a forked 3/4 length carbon fiber plate and refined forefoot rocker. All of that just makes the ride feel nice and smooth and efficient over longer distances. And the outsole is using Vibram Megagrip with Litebase. And the lugs on there are multidirectional, which is good for most types of terrain. And they're about 4 millimeters deep. And there's also a little hidden feature on here, which is this really nice lace garage. Very tidy. When you do the laces up, you just push them up in there. It keeps them out of the way, stops them flapping around, and just makes the shoe look really sharp. When it comes to sizing and fit, they're very much true to size, so just go with your usual US sizing. You should be happy with that. But do note, this is a racing shoe, so there is kind of a snug fit. It's a medium width, but it's well tuned for racing, so you've got a nice snug midfoot, and that just means that your foot is really nicely locked in the shoe and you're not losing energy from it slipping around whilst you're racing. So that's normal, but just be aware of that. If you do have extra wide feet, these probably won't be for you. There's a nice little bit of room in the toe box, although there is a bit of a taper there as well. There's enough room for some airflow in there and a little bit of toe wiggle. I do like this integrated gaiter around the collars, and on the inside there is quite a lot of padding. It might not look it from just looking at this thin gaiter that wraps around the top of your foot, but there is plenty of padding in there. It's very soft and comfortable to step into. But that said, there's no heel pull, and although it is stretchy, it is quite difficult to get on, just a little bit fiddly. It's definitely worth it when they're on, but just know they're not the easiest shoes to get on. If you're enjoying this review so far, which I really hope you are, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next shoe review. Also, I want to get your experience of these shoes. If you have been running in them, please put your experience. Let me know if you love them or hate them in the comments down below, and let me know how you've been using them as well. All this information is going to really help anyone else out who's looking at buying this shoe. It will help them decide whether or not it's going to be their next trail racer. And of course, remember to like this video if you are enjoying it. I really appreciate it. The more likes, the better, please. Ask your mum to like it too. All right, let's move on to my performance review. I'm going to start by talking about the midsole and the ride and the experience that it gives you on the trails. Firstly, I've got to talk about the midsole cushioning and the ride, because it's not really what you might expect. It's actually fairly firm considering the stack on this. So it's not one of those soft, mushy, plush running shoes at all. And that's good because that gives you control and precision on the trails. But just know that you might want to run with a higher cadence and run more light-footed to be able to withstand that firmer midsole through longer distances on the run. Some people are going to love this firm feel, others won't. Maybe you need more protection or cushioning underfoot, then they won't be for you. But I think most people will like this. It's designed that way for a reason, because it does give you more response and more control on the trails. And that's all really important stuff if you are going to be going on to more technical stuff. That said, these are definitely best for single track type running where you're not really going into deep boggy mud or anything too technical. The lugs just won't withstand it. They are a little bit scattered on the outsole. And although they've got 4mm lugs on here, that's not really the deepest for really technical mud sloppy running. So just be aware of that. They will cover most terrain, but for the really sloppy stuff, you might want something a bit more aggressive. I really like the smooth ride that this geometry gives. There is a bit of a rocker on there, not quite as much as the previous version, but the transitions are just really smooth, and it's a lighter shoe now, so everything just feels a little bit more agile and feels like you can pick up your cadence and pick up your pace, be more light-footed on the trails, and just respond to the trail that's coming up ahead much better than before. And also there is that plate in there which gives you a little bit of extra stability on the trails. That said, it is very flexible, so it is easy to flex, but I'm talking more torsional rigidity here in terms of being able to stabilize yourself on a run. I'm going to show you what the pop's like. I'm going to flex the shoe now and let go. Pretty good amount of pop there. That's coming from the foam and the plate in there. So really like how responsively that's working. I have to say this one really does perform well on the climbs as well as on steep descents as well. It is very controllable and I like how precise it is. There's nothing too bulky about this. There's a nice medium whip footprint as well, so it is easy to position your feet and get good placement if you are going to be running through rocks or running through roots and all kinds of obstacles on the trail. It's very easy to place your feet here because it's not one of those big trail cruisers. It does have good precision to it. Going back to the outsole quickly, this is using Vibram Megagrip, so the actual traction on slick surfaces and rocks and scree, all that kind of stuff is really good. I just wish these lugs were a little bit more directional, more chevron shaped, which should give me a little bit more grip going up steep inclines, and then if they were reversed at the heel, I'd get better traction going down steep declines. But the actual rubber compound is really good. I can't fault it. I know Vibram Megagrip very well, and I've always really loved it because it just performs really good across so many different surfaces. Moving on to the upper, it's got a really nice secure fit. That's really important because that supports your foot within the shoe if you are going to be running on the trails. You need to be able to control the shoe without this upper moving around as you're actually trying to move your foot in the right place and stabilize as you run. So it is fairly supportive and there is some breathability here. It might not look like it looking and listening or feeling the material, but actually there is some airflow there. It's not the best by any means, but there is definitely airflow and it's easy enough to regulate temperature within the shoe. That's again important if you are going to be running long distances in these shoes. And then finally, looking at durability, so far these are holding up really well. The Litebase Vibram Megagrip outsole looks fairly untouched and the upper shows no sign of wear either. So really happy with how they're holding up, and I would really want these to be durable because they cost $220. If they weren't holding up, I'd be very worried and I would not be recommending these. When compared to the original Sylan, there are a few differences here. This is about 0.7 of an ounce lighter. That's really good to see. It is more controllable on descents now because it doesn't have that really extreme rocker. It just feels more planted and easier to control. And there's no longer any of that pressure that I was experiencing on the top of the foot, the midfoot over the toe box area. And there's no pressure at the heel either, so those concerns are gone for me. If you're wondering where these now feature on my best trail racing shoes roundup on alistairrunning.com, well, follow that link up there. You'll find this shoe in the ultra running category, and it's doing really well. Check it out. If you are in the market for a trail racing shoe or any trail running shoe, definitely head over to alistairrunning.com, look at my roundup section. Those roundups will guide you to the right shoe for you. I've also got some other really cool tools on that website, one being a shoe finder. So if you're really not sure where to start, there's a little questionnaire on there. You just type in your answers and it will show you my top recommended or top 3 recommended running shoes for you and your needs. Is the Sylan 2 worth $220 then? Well, I think for the right person it is. I'll be brutally honest here, $220 is a lot of money. Yes, it's a carbon plated racing trail shoe, but you can get better trail running shoes for a lot less than $220. They might not have a carbon plate, but they are very controllable, they're fast, they're cushioned, supportive, and relatively stable as well, and they're breathable. If you can guess which shoe is in my mind when I'm saying all that, I want to hear it in the comments down below. I want to see how much you've been paying attention to my reviews. So my point is, if you've got the money and you love the Arc'teryx brand, you want a very competent trail racer, then by all means, go with this. It's a high performance running shoe. But what I'm trying to say is you can get other high performance trail running shoes for less money than this. If you like Arc'teryx, you like how it looks, and you want to splurge a little bit because you deserve it, then go for it. If you've got any questions at all, maybe I missed something in this review, drop it in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you on the next review. Peace.